If you enjoy what you hear here today, please consider supporting me on my Patreon page. Every dollar helps, and you get to see content that you won't see here. Chapter 7. Reports. Canterlot.
You will be safe, won't you?
Scarlet asked, the rays of the morning sun illuminating her features as they stood at the front door of their home. Broadsword, who was in full armor, shot her a smirk. When am I not?
I'm not going to answer that,
she deadpanned back.
Need I remind you exactly how we met?
Trussed up like a trophy in some cave by a changeling infiltrator, he retorted. Believe me, I didn't forget. Scarlet rolled her eyes, but grabbed him by the neck and pulled him close.
Well then, if you need me to come to your rescue again, feel free to let me know.
I'll keep that in mind, he responded, accepting a quick kiss on the lips. Scarlet chuckled, pulling away and returning to the colt just behind her.
Now, I really need to get a certain colt to school.
Valiant visibly gagged.
But I don't want to. It's boring.
Scarlet quirked an eyebrow and looked at her son pointedly.
Valiant Snow, don't you want to join your father in the Royal Guard?
Valiant scuffed the ground, his head drooping.
Yes. Well, then you need a good education. Now come on, chop chop.
He groaned, but did as he was told, picking up his bag with his hooves. He then deposited it onto his back and then trotted out the doorway. I should be off then, Broadsword stated. You two enjoy yourselves.
I'm sure we'll manage. Now go,
Scarlet said.
I'm sure the princess will be keeping you plenty busy.
Broadsword bid his family some final farewells for the day before sauntering away down the street while they went in the opposite direction towards the school. As he went, he passed by the odd pony who gave the captain of the Solar Guard a nod of respect, which he returned. The castle wasn't so far away from his residence, and after only a few minutes of walking, he was already there. On reaching the front gates, the guards on duty all saluted the captain as he passed through. Despite the lack of noise or feeling, he was all too aware of the enchantments scanning him as he passed through the entrance. Enchantments designed to reveal any changeling attempting to sneak into the castle disguised. He couldn't help but consider that if they had had the security measures the castle currently held 10 years ago, then the Canterlot wedding incident would never have happened. Still, Broadsword had to concede that, in hindsight, perhaps all of it was for the best that the initial attempt at the wedding did proceed as it did. After all, without Chrysalis's actions, they wouldn't have had these new measures at all, and of course, Twilight Sparkle would be dead. Still, that was in the past, and today was the present. As such, Broadsword had a job to do, and he intended to do it well. He entered the castle proper, intending to report in directly to Princess Celestia, who would usually be in her study, preparing for day court at that point in the morning. After that, he had wanted to perform a surprise inspection of the barracks. It had been too long since one had occurred, and troops had a habit of getting complacent. None of this would happen, however, when he heard his name being called from behind him down the corridor. Broadsword! Vladimir shouted, the armored thestral flying down the hallway in a rush to catch up. Broadsword stopped in his tracks, turning to face his Lunar Guard counterpart as Vladimir came to a land a short distance away. Vladimir, what is it? He asked. And can it wait? I was just on my way to report into the princess. No need, the thestral responded, stepping just in front of the Pegasus. She and Princess Luna are in the war room. I was sent to retrieve you. The war room? Broadsword cautiously questioned, a frown growing. Why? All will be explained, Vladimir responded. It'll just be us and the princesses for now. Just us? If it's just us and not any of the generals, then why the war room and not the throne room or even one of their studies? We need a map, Vladimir answered. As I said, all will be explained. Now come on. A little confused, Broadsword motioned for the thestral to lead the way. Vladimir walked on with Broadsword close behind him. It was on their way to the war room that Broadsword noticed an unusual amount of changeling activity around the castle. Several stallions and mares he knew to be from Twilight's embassy walked the castle halls, with changelings adorned in blue armor escorting them. Broadsword even spotted a few of Queen Draco's changelings, though they were now connected to Twilight's hive mind, and their guards had swapped out their red changeling guard armor for the blue of Twilight's hive, at least until their own queen was hopefully found alive. But most of the changelings he saw tended to spend their days at the embassies. Why would they be here, and in the numbers he was seeing? Of course, he had heard about some of the troubles the changeling civilization had been having as of late. As such, he concluded that something else had come up related to the missing hives. Either way, he was about to find out. Deep into the castle, the two ponies entered a large, dimly lit rectangular chamber. A large wooden table that was round was sitting at its center. The table had many chairs around it, along with a throne at either end, one with sun motifs and one with moon motifs. At that moment, both princesses were waiting by Celestia's throne, whispering to one another. With the doors secured behind them, the guards made themselves known, with Vladimir giving a loud clearance of his throat. Both princesses heard him, and Celestia rose from the throne as both she and her sister gave the Pegasus and Thestral their attention. "Your Highnesses," Broadsword spoke, "you requested my presence?"
Yes, Captain, Celestia confirmed. Please, take a seat.
Broadsword nodded, and both he and Vladimir took the two seats closest to the right of Celestia's throne. Celestia herself sat back down, but Princess Luna remained standing to her sister's right. "Your Highness, might I ask why we're meeting here if the EUP generals are not going to be involved?"
You know what a gathering of the generals in this room would mean for Equestria, Captain, Celestia stated. They have received their orders in relation to what we must discuss, but for now, further discussion shall remain between us.
"And yet my question remains," Broadsword pointed out. "Why here, and not the throne room? Captain Vladimir mentioned something about maps." Celestia gave her sister a sideways glance, followed by a small nod. Luna nodded back, lighting up her horn with a soft blue hue, the magic interacting with the table. A moment later, the top of the table was enveloped with a bright light as a projection of Equestria spread across its surface.
I assume you noticed the increased changeling presence in the castle today,
Celestia inquired. "I did," Broadsword confirmed.
Well, I understand if your first conclusion is that it has something to do with recent disappearances of changeling hives.
Celestia sat forwards in her seat, examining the location on the map where the Equestrian hive was marked down.
And you would be correct.
Firstly, Luna picked up where her sister left off,
Queen Twilight Sparkle has been called off to a changeling council, a gathering of the remaining changeling queens. She left this morning, though her message to us indicates the council is of direct relation to these troubling events.
"Isn't that a bit dangerous?" Vladimir asked. "Leaving the hive during a time like this?"
The hive is in equestrian borders, Luna pointed out. Should something arise, we are not far away. We do look after our friends.
Luna glanced at Celestia, who was still staring at the equestrian hive on the map.
And our family.
"So a council has been called, and how does that relate to what's going on around the castle?" the Solar Captain inquired.
They are here to help us examine some odd reports that we have been receiving. Reports that have concerning implications.
Celestia spoke up, as blinking red dots began to appear in several places all around the map.
From both EUP patrols and civilians alike, there have been sightings of unidentified changelings around Equestria. Changelings who all quickly flee after being spotted.
Undisguised? Celestia nodded.
Yes, it's like they're getting a lay of the land. Or at least, that is our best guess from the pattern we've seen these sightings take. And yet they are not overly concerned about being seen.
They could be patrols from other changeling hives, Vladimir suggested. Not too much of a stretch to believe such patrols would begin after recent events. Changeling queens would be going to extra lengths to secure their hives.
Well, that is one possibility, and Twilight will likely inform us of such if she finds out about any activity like this at the council, Luna continued. The mere presence of changelings isn't actually what's concerning about these reports.
Broadsword scratched his chin. Then what is?
Their appearance.
The captain blinked. Their appearance? What is that meant to mean?
Their appearance has been described by those who sighted those changelings as strange,
Luna explained with a grimace.
More detailed descriptions given by members of the EUP state that the strangeness originates from their eyes, namely that instead of the usual blue, their eyes are red.
I don't see the issue, Broadsword stated in confusion. Twilight has lavender eyes instead of the green most changeling queens have. And apparently her father also had lavender eyes instead of the usual blue most drones have. It seems she got that particular gene from, I would assume, so what if these drones have different eye colors?
Most normal eye colors don't give off red magical vapor trails, energy pouring from the corner of the eye and out into the open air. It looks akin to how dark magic pours from the user's eyes, just to a lesser and more subtle degree.
That caught Broadsword's attention. Magic? So the red hue to their eyes was induced then, and isn't natural?
That is the theory, Luna responded. Only the changelings here in Canterlot from both Twilight and Draco's respective hives have ever heard of such a thing occurring.
Hold on, Vladimir interrupted, a thought occurring to him. Is it possible that these changelings are, well, that they're some of the changelings from the missing hives?
That is exactly what we are beginning to believe, Celestia grimly stated. Something has happened to these changelings, and we must assume to their rulers as well. Including Queen Draco, Luna added, and if they are truly attempting to get a lay of the land.
Trouble is likely to follow, Broadsword finished. Celestia nodded.
Indeed. The implications are worrying, but the fact is we have too little information. For now, we must hope the council that Twilight is attending will provide us with some more insight.
So we must wait for her return, or a message delivered by her dragon assistant, Vladimir noted. What's to be done in the meantime?
I did mention orders have been provided to the generals, Celestia reminded him. We've had them increase EUP patrols around Equestria, and we would like you to do the same for the Royal Guard around Canterlot, especially in the area directly around the Changeling embassies. We must provide them with sufficient protection from whatever is happening, so that they don't feel like they're going to vanish just walking the streets.
Princess Celestia sat back in her chair with an audible sigh.
EUP patrols will also help keep an eye on the Equestrian Hive, and we've had Princess Cadence and Prince Shining Armor do the same with the Crystal Guard.
We can do that, Vladimir stated. I'll arrange a meeting with my direct subordinates once we're done here. And I'll do the same, Broadsword added in. Though, I must say, I doubt this is something that is simply going to blow over. Things might get worse, and the last thing we need is the changeling civilization currently within the city panicking.
We'll just have to reassure them of their safety, and that we won't let anything happen to them while they remain here, Celestia said. Aside from that, we'll just have to remain vigilant. For now, it's up to Twilight to find out more about what's going on, and how to put a stop to it before things get out of hoof.
And the bearers of the elements of harmony? Vladimir asked, his leathery wings ruffling. Shall we be calling upon them?
Not yet,
Celestia stated.
We hardly have a target for them to use the elements of harmony on. Even if we did, I would prefer not to place them in harm's way, unless it proves necessary. Mother knows they have done far more for this country than most mortals should have to in one lifetime.
It's not every day you save the world, Vladimir chuckled. Still, you should have a message ready to go in case the situation changes.
Should it become necessary, we will send one post-haste, Celestia assured. For now, you two have your orders, and I need not say for you and your ponies to keep this as quiet as you can. Word of much of these events has already spread, but the details could cause unnecessary fear and panic to arise.
Don't worry, Broadsword stated, standing up. This is hardly our first rodeo.
As I am all too aware,
Celestia said, giving them a small smile.
For now, that is all.